I see that we have a few viewers joining us. We'll get started in just a minute here. I'm going to see if a few more people will join us, but thank you for attending and welcome to the meeting. And we'll get started here in just a second. And again, welcome to the meeting. We're going to wait about one more minute before we get started, just to see if a few more viewers show up. I want to point out in the meantime, if you're watching on YouTube live, you can type comments in there, and those will show up on my end so I can answer your questions. So if you have any questions, you can pop them right into the comments on YouTube live. We'll wait about 30 more seconds, then we'll get started. All right, welcome to our meeting. I'm going to go ahead and start us off. Hopefully a few more viewers join us, but I want to get started. Out of respect and the time of those of you who have joined us, my name is Brian Shum. I'm the Associate Principal of Curriculum and Instruction at Mountain House High School. And the purpose of our meeting tonight is to gather some feedback from you, the parents of our students here at the school, based specifically on the plans or the goals that we have under our LCAP plan, which is our Local Control and Accountability Plan that guides the district and kind of determines the funding we have. So we're going to start off tonight by doing a brief overview of the LCAP, what that is, what that means, and then we'll look at the 3 specific goals that guide our work as a school that we're hoping to provide for students and the community as well. So goal 1 is systematic closure of the opportunity gaps. There will be a chance to provide some feedback, both positive and things that we may be able to work on as both a school and a district. Goal 2 is instruction and curriculum, again, with another opportunity for feedback. And goal 3 is 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication with an opportunity for feedback. And then at the end, I'll share with you a form where you can just provide some general feedback if there's other things that don't fit into those categories. So as we go through, I'm going to explain what each goal is and then give you a chance to provide some feedback onto a form that I'm going to share. If you're joining us through YouTube Live, you'll see that you can type comments next to the video. Those comments show up on my end. So if you have any questions or comments or things that you feel like need to be addressed, clarification as I go through the presentation, please feel to post those there, and I'll be able to reach out to you and answer those questions. So I apologize. We are continuing to do meetings in the virtual environment for better or for worse. So that cuts down a little bit on our interaction. But if you do have questions, please feel free to post those into the comments there. So I'm going to go into our LCAP plan. LCAP stands for Local Control and Accountability. And again, it's the plan that guides our work as a district and as a school. So that's how funding is determined from the state level. And The purpose and function of the LCAP plan is really to build upon the strengths of our district and look at ourselves beyond test scores. So we are one of the highest performing districts in the region. We take a lot of pride in that as far as test scores go, but we know that education encompasses a lot of things beyond test scores. And our goal as a school and district is really to provide the best education to students we possibly can. Another purpose is to develop a plan to address student group disparities. We're lucky we have an incredibly diverse student body here in the district. We have no majority group that makes up part of the population. And there are certain subgroups within that who tend to perform at different levels than other groups. So part of the plan is to address those student group disparities and making sure that everyone is getting the resources that they need. Another purpose of it is to identify and improve on areas of low performance. So even though we are a high performing school, high performing district, there's always areas we can improve in. So local decision making, strategic planning, how can we plan for the long term to address some of those goals and develop plans to better some of those weaknesses that we have. So when we're talking about the LCAP, there's 8 state priorities that guide that plan. These are determined from the state level. One is basic, that's just the conditions of learning. Do we have campuses, school buildings that are in good repair? Do we have instructional materials for all students? We're lucky here in this district that most of our campuses are fairly new, including here at the high school. We're in our 8th year. So most of our campuses are pretty new. Number 2 is state standards. Every curriculum, every course that's taught is guided by state standards that are passed down from that level. And every course should be adhering to those standards. So part of it is making sure we're adhering to that. Number 3 is parental involvement. How are we reaching out and engaging parents? And is that outreach effective? Number 4 is pupil achievement or pupil outcomes. That has direct implications from test scores. That's how we measure a lot of that. Students this week in 11th grade at the high school are taking the CASP test. So a lot of it has to do with that. Pupil engagement. How well are we engaging our kids, both in the classroom and across the campus? Different opportunities for them, whether it be clubs or sports or lots of other different activities that we offer. Number 6 is school climate. And that's the safety of the environment that we're offering to students, making sure that the students feel safe when they come to campus, that we have systems to address bullying, systems to address some of the negative things that come up on a high school campus. Number 7 is course access. And those are the conditions for learning. And that kind of refers to courses being available to a wide range of students and not just one particular group. Then other pupil outcomes. So I'm going to go into a few specific goals in the LCAP, and those are really what guide our work here. And this is where we're going to be asking for feedback. So goal 1 is systematic closure of the opportunity gaps. Goal 2 is instruction and curriculum efficacy. And goal 3 is 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication. And I'm going to go into more detail on each one of these and provide an opportunity to give some feedback as we go through it. So goal 1, systematic closure of the opportunity gaps. What this refers to and what this means is that all students will graduate the district being college and career ready through a coordinated, articulated instructional program that teaches each student the skills of communication, citizenship, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. And we're lucky we have a technologically enhanced environment with a one-to-one learning environment where students have Chromebooks throughout high school. So some examples of how we're closing the opportunity gaps. And when we're talking about opportunity gaps, we're specifically referring to making sure all groups of students, whether it be English learner students, students who are on IEPs, students from different cultural backgrounds, they all have access to high quality instruction, and we're giving them the resources they need. So some examples of that would include student progress monitored through assessment. We do that through many ways, including the CASP test, which they're taking this week, the MAP test, which measures their growth in math and reading. And in all courses, they have common assessments that are aligned with essential standards. A comprehensive high school experience. This refers to the clubs that are offered, sports, activities that are offered throughout the day. Do we have those that meet the needs of all students? Career and technical education. We currently have a CTE program that offers 8 different pathways. And the goal of that is to provide education that mirrors what students would see in the industry and get them ready for that as they move on. Maintain and hire exceptional staff. This year we have 84 teachers at the high school. Next year we will have 92 as we continue to grow. And a big part of our focus is hiring the best people and training them so that they can provide exceptional learning experiences. Student attendance. How do we make sure students are getting to school on time and following through with that? Partnership with San Joaquin Delta College. We currently offer an early college program. 54 of our students are in the cohort that started this year, and we're going to have another 65 who join the program next year. And those groups are students who are dual enrolled at Delta College, and they will graduate high school both with a high school diploma and an AA degree from Delta. English learner progress and strategic support. Do we provide supports for those students, as well as additional support for some of our subgroups, which includes EL learners, foster, and low-income students, and of course, well-maintained facilities. Also part of this goal is our English language development, teaching, and reclassification. As a school district, we have fewer students that who are English language learners than are typical throughout the state, but we still do have quite a few of them. Assessments of student data and UC A to G completion. A to G completion refers to students who complete a pathway that are going to prepare them to go into the UC system. And students who meet those requirements as they go through high school show those colleges that they're ready to go on and be successful. We also have a lot of students in our advanced placement courses with a very high pass rate on those AP exams. One of our goals is to increase the daily attendance rate. Well, it's pretty high for us as it is. We want to make sure all students are attending. Decrease the dropout rate. We've had nearly 100% graduation rate since we opened as a school. And increase the number of students with a 3.0 GPA or higher, and decrease the number of students with D to F grades. So these are some of the things that Goal 1 encompasses. And I want to provide the first opportunity for feedback here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a form with everybody who's viewing right now. And you should be able to access that form. And when you go into it, there'll be a next button so you can move to the first section. And it's going to ask you what we're doing well in this area and what are some improvements we can make in this area. So I'm going to give you a few minutes here just to provide some feedback if you would like. And you can also ask some questions if you have any questions that are specific to this particular goal. And again, this goal is the systematic closure of opportunity gaps. Are we providing high quality education and opportunities to students in all groups, regardless of what they are? So I'm going to pause for just a second and give you an opportunity to provide some feedback if you would like. And I will point out as well that your feedback is anonymous. It's not tied to a name or email address or anything. Once you fill out that form, it comes to us. We use it for planning what we're doing, and we do take it seriously, and it is anonymous. Now wait just another minute before we go on to goal number 2. So that form is going to stay up there, and I'm going to move on to goal number 2 and talk about that a little bit. So goal number 2 is about instruction and curriculum efficacy. So this refers specifically to our commitment to the systematic development of instructional leadership and teaching excellence in all classrooms by identifying, implementing, and institutionalizing research-validated practices district-wide. So these are some of the things that we're currently doing as we work towards that goal. One is we provide professional development in a lot of different ways for all of our staff. We have release days throughout the year. Teachers come to school a few days before students do. All of those days are focused on professional development centered on teaching practices, addressing student needs. We also have early release days throughout the year, which are focused on those staff development activities. Implementation of effective instructional practices. We base our recommended instructional practices on research into what works. We've identified 4 basic teaching practices that we emphasize in every classroom every day, and that would be communicating a clear learning objective to students, providing a hook, and that's some way that teachers are making a connection between the content, what's being taught, and the student interests or what they previously learned as a way to activate their learning. Content literacy strategies is a third focus. And those refer specifically to how we're engaging students in reading, writing, speaking, and listening in every lesson. And then the 4th main focus is checking for understanding. So after we've taught something, we've communicated what we're going to learn through the objective. After we've gone through that learning, after we've taught it, we want to check to see if students understand. And if they don't, the teacher should take some kind of action to go back and guide the students and support them in learning that in a different way. And if they've already learned it, they can provide opportunities for those students to move forward in more advanced ways. Focus on student and staff wellness. Again, lots of ways that we're doing that here. We just opened up a wellness center that our counselors put together this year. That's a place for students to go to during the day if they need support from a counselor. And we do some of the same things with our teachers. Programs and services for unduplicated pupils. That's education speak, but basically that means those are students who fall into one of our subgroup categories, which could include English language learners, foster students, students from a low income background. So how do we provide students or services that are going to help those students? And same thing for students with exceptional needs. Those are our special education students for our individualized educational plans, and making sure that we have the appropriate programs and supports to help them with their unique needs. Provide 21st century experiences and content. And what that refers to is making sure that we're educating our students so that they're ready to go on to higher education and they're ready to go into the workforce with the skills that they need for the jobs of today and the jobs that are coming tomorrow. So high school probably looks a lot different to your kids than they did to us when we were going through school. And that's a good thing because we're making sure our practices are updated to reflect those needs of the current demands of work and school, and decrease the number of suspensions and expulsions. So we do have a restorative practice system, and we put that into place so that students are not just getting punished for things that they're doing that are against the rules, but they're working to restore the damage that they've done to relationships around campus. So traditionally, students would receive a punishment when they broke the rules. Um, in our system, we're trying to make sure that they understand that those are things that can be repaired and understand that they cause damage to others, um, whether it be their teachers, their classmates, in the learning environment, when they do those types of things. So here's a few goals that go along with goal number 2, or a few things that we're working on. One is implement the Common Core state standards, providing professional development to go along with that. The Common Core state standards are standards that have to do with how students are communicating and learning in their different content areas. Decrease the suspension rate is something we're working on across the board through those restorative practices. And along with that is PBIS. Those are positive behavior intervention systems, so that we're supporting students and addressing potential bad behaviors before they become something that would be more problematic. Communicating survey results. So this is something we're working on as a school and district, collecting feedback from parents, communicating that out, how things are going. And broad course of study and PLTW and CTE, kind of in the same category there, just making sure that we offer a wide variety of courses to students to meet their interests. So PLTW refers to Project Lead the Way. They have curriculum that fuels our science courses, including the biomed pathway, computer science, and a few others. And CTE are our career and technical education courses. We currently have 8 pathways in there, which includes culinary arts, engineering, computer science, digital and media arts, and dance, as well as business. So I'm going to provide another opportunity for feedback here. After you see the Goal 1 section on the form, you can go to Next and provide some feedback for Goal 2. And again, I'll pause for just a second. And I see that we are getting some feedback, so that's great. And again, if you have questions on any of these specific goals or need further clarification, please go ahead and type them into the chat. Now wait just a minute before we go on to Goal 3. Now I'm going to go into Goal 3 here. So Goal 3 is about 21st century outcomes and stakeholder communication. So this means the district is providing the community with a high quality education, fostering positive parent relationships in a system that is focused on 21st century educational programs. and that supports and includes a rapidly expanding student population. So one of the things that's definitely unique about us is that we're constantly growing. We opened the school this year with 600 freshmen, and next year we're going to have the same numbers, and we're going to be adding about 200 students overall to our student population here at just the high school. So we are growing rapidly and keeping up with that over time. So some of the things that this would include would be providing cutting edge technology in classrooms for students and teachers, um, providing one-on-one Chromebooks as part of that, high-speed internet, as well as providing classrooms, particularly for our CTE programs, where they have access to high-end equipment that reflects what's happening in industry. So we do have high-end Mac labs for digital and media arts. Our computer science classrooms and engineering classrooms also have computers and equipment to provide that experience. Supplemental transportation. So even though we don't have transportation to and from school, we do spend quite a bit on transportation for getting students to and from activities that they participate in. That's sports at the high school level. We also have programs such as HOSA, the Health Services Program, that a lot of our students participate in and are going to competitions in the region, around the state, and even nationally. And transportation is provided supplementally for all of those students. Quality communications with parents and community, making sure that we're providing opportunities for feedback, disseminating information when we need to. Examples of this would be like Parent Square, email, communications going on in a timely way, as well as feedback opportunities. So meetings like this, our site council, and various committees that the district supports as well. Appropriate credentialed teachers. We don't have any teachers this year who are not fully credentialed or are credentialed out of their subject area. We support parent input and involvement and parental participation of students with exceptional needs, EL, foster, and low-income youth. So some ways that we are working to make progress towards this goal are providing parent, student, and staff surveys, parent engagement opportunities, parental involvement and communications, trying to be consistent with that, participation of focus parent groups and with students. Counselors run a lot of focus groups, such as coffee with the counselor type opportunities, and regular evaluation of district technology via the tech sustainability plan. So that's something that's headed up by our IT department, making sure that our infrastructure and the devices that we're providing to students and teachers are up to the standards of what we would expect. So I'm going to pause here and give you another chance to provide some feedback on that form. I'm going to share that form one more time, just in case you're just joining us and maybe didn't get a chance to access it previously. So I just shared it again. Again, that form is going to remain live. So once we finish the presentation, if you have additional feedback that you'd like to add, or if you want to think about it a little bit more and add some feedback in there, we'd be happy to have it too. So I'm going to give you just a minute. So we've covered our three main goals of the LCAP plan, and there's been an opportunity to share feedback about each one of those goals. So I want to thank those of you who were able to provide some feedback. We do look at that and consider it seriously as a leadership team and share those results with our teaching staff as well. So thank you for sharing that. And again, your responses are anonymous. So if you want to contribute additional feedback to that, we'd be happy to have it. The last section on the form here is an opportunity to provide some general feedback. So if there's things that you would like to provide feedback that we haven't covered here, feel free to leave that here. This could be anything about the school in general, whether it be instruction, facilities, practices, anything that you want to leave additional feedback on. So that is open to you as well. Provide some feedback. And I'll stick around for just a second here. In case you have any additional questions, you can post those in the chat room. So I'm not seeing any additional feedback coming in here or questions. I'm going to close out the meeting. I do appreciate you tuning in tonight and providing some feedback. This forum is going to remain open if there's additional things that you would like to put in there. And if you think of something that you don't want to share in the forum and rather reach out to me directly, I'd love to talk to you about that too. My name is Brian Shum. I'm the Associate Principal in Curriculum Instruction at Mountain House High School. So again, thanks for tuning in and have a great night.